Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the Dragon Hard 10 dungeon, and I'm going to show you guys two teams that can duel the Hard 10, allowing you to farm 3 food at the same time. So obviously, if you want to be super efficient with your energy, it's always a good idea to farm dungeons while you're farming food. And it's perfect for the current dragon tournament paired with the upcoming champion training event that we have tomorrow. So when they're running together, now you can basically knock off both events at the same time, which is super awesome and efficient. So here I'm going to show you guys, I need some energy. So make sure you guys get that clan boss energy, but I'm going to show you guys the teams I'm going to use. Keep in mind, guys, this is a super endgame build. We're talking about doing the hardest dungeon levels, farming food. So basically, you're gonna need some good builds for this. So brace yourselves, okay, guys? All right, so this is the duel that we're gonna use first. I have 2 combinations of this. So first of all, we have Teodor in the lead with Artak. This is a no preset run. We can go over the stats and gearing afterwards, but I'll show you guys the run first. Let's see it in action. It's so beautiful. I love it. So Teodor brings decreased speed, increased speed, poisons, and detonation. Artak bringing decreased attack, HP burn, and detonation as well. So they work very well together. Obviously, this is hard 10. You're going to be taking a lot of damage. You need to have very good gear to be able to do this. But it is doable, and so far it's been tested to be very reliable, and that's what you really want when you're farming food. And actually, you know what, the run speed is actually very quick, considering that you're not running like a seer to kill the waves, and you're just running 2 champions. So the run speed is very solid, and you get to run some food. So that's all you really want. You want a decent run speed, you want some food, you want reliability. That's very important. So let's see these guys in action. It's about 50 seconds to reach the boss there. So bam, we're here. Let's see how it goes against the boss here. So you got the poisons, you got the HP burn, decreased attack landing there. It's important to have, it's important to have good speed on your champions for sure, so that you can keep up with the dragon and recover and do your damage and stuff. For this comp, it's beneficial to be fast because it basically enables you to have good healing, good damage, because they can detonate their own poison applications and HP applications. You don't need the enemy to take a turn. So you going fast makes sense for dealing more damage too. So right here, we got a minute 28. It's about a minute 20, a minute 30 for this duel. Very solid duel, of course. No presets on this, both of them doing relatively same amount of damage. We can quickly go over the builds on the Artak here. So the Artak, very strong build. I'm going to go into the Dragon's Lair here. 101,000 HP, 4.1k defense, 267 speed. Crit rate, crit damage, not super important. You must have resistance and accuracy on Artak. I recommend between at least 430 resistance and at least 330 accuracy in regeneration. So that must happen. This Artak is the same Artak I used to solo Ice Golem 9 as well as Ice Golem 10. At the end, I used Seer obviously to get him to the boss, but then he finishes off the boss. In terms of books and blessings, you definitely need to fully book him out, obviously, to increase his debuff chance and cooldowns. Definitely book him out. Artak is one of the best carries in the game. In terms of blessings, so quick note about his blessing here. Emergency heal is what I use. This only works if you have a blood shield accessory. So blood shield accessory, ring, amulet, banner. Slap anyone on him, and then he will generate a small shield, and that shield will equal a heal when it's broken. So it's a good passive. This passive was recently this blessing was recently reworked, and now it's actually relevant. If you don't have a blood shield accessory, I would recommend using Miracle Heal. Miracle Heal does give you a little bit of survivability. It basically restores your max HP, which Artak destroys himself. He destroys his own max HP. So getting it back means your health pool is basically larger, so you can get more, take more hits, etc., etc. And you don't need anything special for this. So it definitely helps for Ice Golem as well. I've seen people use Reaper to speed up the solo farms, killing the waves and all that stuff, but it doesn't help you survive. And against the Ice Golem, you need the extra survivability most likely, and against the dragon you need some extra survivability. So I would recommend not using Soul Reap unless you have even better stats than me, I guess. Brimstone, also a viable option. Not going to be the best option against Ice Golem, so if you're Artak double duties in Ice Golem, Brimstone's not going to be the best option, but Brimstone will work against the dragon here to speed things up. Like I said, this is my Ice Golem build as well, so he is double dutying in this same build. He also is in this same build in my 5-turn, 12-second Spider Hard 10 team. So Artak basically just coming in clutch in 3 of the highest end dungeons and in the same build. So great versatile champion. Here's the masteries. I went for Oppressor. You can definitely go for Eagle Eye, or if you're strapped for resistance, go down to resistance. The big thing here is to pick up the Spirit Haste, Master Hexer for the increased duration on the attack down and HP burn. A little bit of accuracy is good, a little bit of turn meter here is good. Extra stats if you need, of course. Receive less damage from AoE is very important, more healing here. And then obviously the delayed death, you get a little bit reduced damage against the boss here. So anyway, so that's going to be the Artak. And then up next we have the Teodor. So Teodor here, previously I was using Teodor to solo Dragon Hard 8 with 4 food. And this build handled that very easily, no problems there. But now I'm going to pair him with Artak to do 10 and then 3 food. It's a small difference in gear quality, and then you lose 1 food champion. Not a huge deal for me, especially since finding better gear is very hard. So I'll take all the chances I can get, whereas food is not that big of a deal for myself. So actually I'll show you guys the gear on Artak, what individual pieces they have. So I'll show you guys the pieces here. You guys can quickly take a look if you want. Obviously some pretty good gear on him. The Ascensions definitely help beef him up here, but didn't really go super all in. Well, this ring is pretty good. I mean, a quad HP ring on HP with ascended HP. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. That's not a very good amulet. And then we have a accuracy with resistance banner here. So pretty good gear on Artak. Teodor here. So like I was saying, he is my previous Dragon Hard 8 carry solo with 4 food. Now I'm going to pair him with Artak, do 3 food. And this is the build you want on him. At least 250 speed and at least, I would say at least 90k HP to make this very safe. And at least this amount of defense. You definitely want more stats on these champions. And I think the stats that I'm running are like, they don't offer too much room for kind of resistance. Like if the dragon resists attacks down or resist a bunch of poisons and then the fight gets extended, then you might not have enough stats to survive too many more hits. So I would say these stats are maybe like 5% higher than what you're allowed to run, like minimum, for at least a good win rate. So far these stats give me 100% win rate. But I definitely think it can fail if the stars align with the resistance and all that stuff. So let's jump into the Dragon's Lair. So the Dragon's Lair, I got a little bit more accuracy. I could use a little bit more resistance on this Teodor. I'm probably looking for some glyphs, or maybe I'll do some live arena and then just put some resistance here just to help him out. But yeah, you're looking for at least 250 speed. You're looking for about 430 resistance, 330 accuracy at least, 90k HP, at least 3k defense to make this build work. Of course, fully booked if you can. Accuracy here in all battles is what you're running, so you don't need full accuracy, of course. Blessing, you want Brimstone for sure, so make sure you guys pick him up with Brimstone. Mastery is pretty similar to Artak, actually. Went down to Oppressor for extra turn meter, extra duration on debuffs, extra speed from your food dying, healing here, and then AoE protection. Pretty self-explanatory Teodor build. Yeah, I'll go over the pieces, individual pieces here if you guys want. So I do have an extra immortal set on him, so my stats are lower, but he has more healing. And then a blood shield ring that's irrelevant. Yeah, so. All right, so that's going to be the first combo. I have another combo here, and I want to thank another fellow content creator, Authentic. Authentic is a content creator that runs a really stacked high-end account from the Mad Clan, and he highlighted using Staltus instead of Teodor. So using Staltus instead of Teodor, I used the same Artak with Staltus in the lead, defense aura. If you run presets, it's a little faster. If you don't run presets, it's a little slower. So without presets, it's about 2 minutes. With presets, it's about 1.5 minutes. Yeah, about 1.5 minutes. So let's see this run with presets. And we'll basically, since we freshly have the Teodor build or the run in mind, we can kind of compare visually. So Staltus comes in here, and then he brings crowd control as well as decreased crit damage. He also brings damage, like raw damage instead of poison damage, for example. But he's also extremely tanky. So it's hard for him to die from the waves, for example. Also pretty hard for the dragon to kill him. He doesn't get debuffed very often. So he's also easier to build than Teodor. He doesn't need resistance. He won't get decreased defense or weakened from the Venus, for example, so it's perfect. He doesn't get poisoned from the dragon. He actually wants to get poisoned from the dragon because his passive reflects the poison back onto the dragon, and then the poison suffers the poison damage and then dies. It's a perfect passive to deal with this dungeon. And yeah, so we'll see how it goes against the dragon. You can see here the wave is a little bit slower. It's about 10 seconds slower against the wave, but the boss fight is much faster than the Teodor pair. So you see here the poisons go on Staltus. Target change goes on to the dragon. Weaken also goes on the dragon as well. So Staltus here is going to be a real MVP against this dragon. If you have Staltus, definitely use him in hard dragon. He's a absolute stud. Artak definitely not doing as much damage here against the dragon. It's all Staltus pumping out the damage here. And that's it. So minute 40, a little bit on the slower side, but without the presets, it's going to be closer to 2 minutes. Very safe run. I did a lot of runs with lower stats, and I was experiencing some fails. So I will show you guys the build that I found that works for me, and then you guys can obviously make the decision for yourself. So Authentic's video showcased a Staltus with Guardian gear, and I found that Guardian gear didn't really work well for me, mainly because my Guardian gear is not as good as my regeneration gear. So I went with full regeneration on the Staltus. Staltus doesn't need to be crit capped or deal incredible damage. His main role is to CC the waves and to kill the dragon. Of course, he can deal damage, but it's obviously going to be very hard to hit the stats. So total stats on the Staltus: 103k HP, 3.8k defense, 254 speed. So I'm aiming for at least 250 speed, and then enough accuracy to land the debuffs. So for Staltus, his passive here, weaken, decreased defense, and poison gets reflected back to the attacker. He doesn't need accuracy for this to work. So if you have a team that utilizes Staltus just for this passive, you don't need accuracy on him for this to work. The reason why he has accuracy in this build is to basically land his crowd control abilities. He has a stun ability, so it's going to lock down the waves, basically saves you time because they won't be attacking and all that stuff. So yes, a little bit of crowd control there, and then this decreased defense, decreased crit damage debuff. It's actually pretty good against the dragon, so the dragon won't be dealing like insane amounts of damage to you. So it's another extra survivability thing that Staltus has for this run. So yeah, like I said, you're aiming for at least 90k in regeneration. I had 90k in Guardian, and he was taking a bit too much damage and suffering death against the dragon fight. Obviously, in regeneration gear, he also takes damage from your partner. So when your partner takes damage, he will take some damage from the ally protection that Guardian set has built in. The other thing is you could run Guardian if your Artak is a bit weaker. So for example, my Artak is pretty strong. He can, take care of himself basically. So having extra Guardian, extra damage mitigation from a Guardian set is not really necessary. And for me, killing the dragon is the hardest part. So Staltus needs to stay alive against the dragon, and the longer he stays alive against the dragon, the more poisons he will reflect onto the dragon, and it will just be a matter of time until the dragon just dies. Okay, so Artak can die against the dragon, but Staltus cannot die against the dragon, and that's basically what you're looking for. I recommend at least 90k HP, at least 3.56, 3.7k defense at least, just to make this very consistent. I'll show you guys some pieces of the gear here. Most of them are not like super all-in pieces, but they got some good glyphs on them. They got some ascensions. Yeah, it's made to work for this dungeon, obviously. And yeah, the stats are definitely not easy to hit, but this is an end game build. You're farming food in the highest levels. And yeah, so there you go. That's going to be Staltus. Make sure he's fully booked. You want the, obviously, cooldowns and stuff, CC debuff chance. If you're using him just for the passive, you don't need any books. That's the best thing about Staltus. If you have him in a team with like Seer or something for Dragon, you can just put him in like super slow Stone Skin and then let the dragon poison himself to death and let the passive reflect. But also another thing is you want accuracy on this build because you need accuracy to land Brimstone. So if you don't have accuracy on him, you can't land Brimstone. And if you want to do this kind of dual team, you need accuracy and you need Brimstone. So that's one of the big negatives there, but it is what it is. Going into the masteries here, you want War Master for sure. It's going to help you kill the big dragon. You want Life Drinker for sure, just in case you get really low. Some extra damage here is fine. Extra healing here is for sure needed. Reduction from AoE attacks needed. This kind of helps Artak a little bit if your Artak's a little bit squishy. I don't find it being super relevant too much, but I don't find this being ultra relevant, and this doesn't feel ultra relevant as well. So I just went for this just in case Artak somehow dies on the first wave or suffers lots of damage. For some reason he gets really low on the first wave, so maybe this helps. But yeah, so these are the masteries on the Staltus. Not super relevant. I mean, not super needed, I guess. I guess you can get away with no masteries, but War Master does help, and it does speed up the run a little bit. And you can't fight the dragon forever. That's the thing, because the dragon ramps up damage and he's going to wipe you out. So you definitely need to, put yourself on the clock here to try to kill the dragon once you reach it. But yeah, that's going to be it for the video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys can put this team together. Like I said, this is a super endgame team. Pretty endgame builds. But you're farming the highest dungeons with food. What more can you ask for? And yeah, in relatively good speed too. With super raids, it's a 90 second double farm, so it's equivalent to 45 seconds of run. Anyways, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this build. Is it just too outrageous for you guys? I'm pretty sure it's only going to apply to some people, but it's something to look forward to if you guys play the game for a while and you guys get some good gear. So let me know in the comments below again. Thanks for watching. As always, thank you for your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.